Well, hello everyone. It has definitely been a minute, a long minute. It's been a year minute at least since I did a live stream, and I thought, hey, I am going to do a live stream on this bike that's right here behind me. This bike I lovingly call Old Smokey, and in a little bit, when we get a few more people on the video, I'll show you why. Um, there has been quite a bit of activity in the last year in the shop here. I've put out a few videos. Sometimes you run a little bit low on ideas, but I am coming up with new ideas for videos. One of them being a new frequently asked question video. And if you have a frequently asked question, I guess, or a burning question, and you want to leave it here in the chat or in the comments below this video, please do so, and I will be able to, possibly put them in a future video or answer them right here live and put them on a future video. But some of those ideas that I've been thinking about doing, I have, just doing a video just to kind of talk through some of the problems. Maybe not necessarily demonstrate all of the fixes on the problems, but some of the things that I've been seeing a lot of in my inbox is questions on people that have a stuck starter. What can you do to get that thing loosened up? Now, I've covered that one a little bit before on the sprag clutch or the starter clutch, and ways that you could fix it. But there are ways in which you might be able to, if your starter's stuck in that position where it just won't start the bike, that's one problem. If the starter is stuck on, that's another problem entirely. And there are ways in which you can get the starter unstuck to at least get you back on the road before maybe you can get to a potential fix. One of the other things is if your bike has become real hard to shift, brake problem diagnosis, oil dripping, just how bad is oil dripping and from where, final drive leaks, the front end wobble. I've been getting a lot of questions from people about if you're LT, especially if you have a wobble at over a certain speed, you might have an alignment issue, and I can outline how to properly align the forks so that it really is tracking straight with the rear wheel, giving you the best opportunity to not be wobbling all over the place. The alarm, you guys know how I feel about that damn alarm. That thing is just a source of pain. If you're having weird electrical issues, just follow my video and delete that stupid alarm. I don't know why they put an alarm on that thing. I don't know that it's ever really saved any bikes. I might be likely to set a bike on fire before I instead of stealing it, before having to not deal with that stupid alarm. That thing is just a mess. Reverse issues. So if you're having problems with going in reverse, if you have a lot of final drive play, that's another question I get. The smoke on startup, that one's really common. I get that all the time, especially from new guys that just own the LT. They bring it in their garage, they park it on the side stand, and they come out the next day or a week later, and the thing is smoking like the hubs of hell. And it's so common. It just happens all the time with these bikes. What happens is that oil slips past the rings when it's sitting on the side stand, and that oil then gets into the combustion chamber, and you got smoke on the startup. And the more worn out your bike is, or the more worn out the rings are, it can happen. If you put really thin oil in it, it can definitely happen. Mostly though, if you park it on the side stand, it happens. Certainly happens on mine, and I park mine up on the center stand almost all the time, and it tends to smoke after probably about 2 weeks of sitting. It will then smoke for a little bit, and I'm just used to it. A lot of you guys probably are too. Also, some windshield parts. Where can you find windshield parts? So those are some up and coming questions. I will take your questions over in chat on this live stream, and if you guys leave comments below, if you're watching this past the live stream, if you're not watching this live, then certainly put your questions down below. I read every comment that comes through this channel, and I respond to a great many of them. So, also one more thing, a couple more things, I guess, before I really get started here. Of course, if you want to help support the work that I do, please do support with through the links that are down below, down in the below or in the description, I guess, through the whether it's through Patreon or through my Amazon page, or you can even donate on YouTube here, and that always goes a long way to help out. But I will check throughout this live stream. I will be checking the chat and trying to answer some of your questions. So if I'm looking past the camera right now, it's because I'm looking at chat. So nice to see you guys out there. Primer 7, can you recommend a clutch for a 99 R11 RT? Well, I don't know where it's where you can find it. Certainly you can find those clutches at BMW. Check Beamer Boneyard. They do carry clutches. I don't know what their stock is like. The other place would be Wunderlich here in the U.S. That's certainly one, and then there's also UK options if you're in the UK. Rhea Jones, glad to see you on. Thank you. Also, third gear clucks when shifting. Clucks. Is it like a chicken cluck? Like no, that's I would check your linkage on that. I would just go in there and service your linkage. I know there's only like one thing in your linkage, but you might have one of the balls might be loose on that thing, and might need to tighten it up, lubricate it. That's where I would start with a third gear, clunk or something like that. Might have a problem with that, or parts might be getting worn out too. It could be a U-joint in your drive shaft. I don't know. That would take some diagnostics. Hi, teach the clutch pad accumulates some oil. Is it okay if I drill a 5mm hole on the underside? Now, if you're speaking about the LT, that Gokon, if you're talking about the clutch, yes, on an LT. The old LTs used to have a hole right in the intermediate housing that was meant to let the oil out. And guys would go underneath there and be like, oh, what's that hole for? And then they plug it up. And then the thing would fill up with oil, and it would get all over the clutch. And now you're looking at a clutch or some other procedure to try to get the clutch clean. So in answer to your question, yes, you can drill a small hole in the intermediate housing right between the engine, about halfway between the engine and the transmission. You can go ahead and drill a small hole there. Let some of that oil out, and you'll get a little bit longer life on your clutch. It won't last forever. It will continue to leak, and the leak will probably get only worse over time, but you can definitely prolong the inevitable, and that's having to take out your transmission. So a couple other little housekeeping things. Some of my upcoming videos that I have, I've got right now I'm editing a video on an engine that I completely dismantled. So I tore this engine all the way apart, and it's really just a video to show, well, the carnage that happened inside this engine because the guy ran it out of oil. But it's a good visual teacher to show you what these parts look like, where they're located, that kind of thing. And yeah, just it's going to be kind of a longer form video with a whole ton of editing. I work on that video every single day lately for anywhere from a half an hour to an hour and a half, and it's just edit after edit after edit and cut, just trying to, because it took a long time to take that engine all the way apart, and I'm trying to compress that video into a pretty short time so it's watchable and not like watching paint dry or something. Best way to reach me if you want me to work on your motorcycle is, or if you got questions, whatever, is through my website, kirksmotorrad.com. Just click the link and it will send me an email and we'll be able to discuss what you need. Also, if you need those brake lines for any of the Spiegler lines, of course I can get those, but the ones that are for the ABS bypass, that one, yeah, you gotta contact me directly for those. And if you do ever contact me for that, just let me know if you already have Spiegler lines or not. It was one of the things I forgot to cover in that video, and it's going to reach a pretty limited audience right here, but that's one of the first questions that come out. You know, if somebody says, hey, I need a set of the bypass lines for the LT, I have to respond back with, well, do you already have Spiegler lines? Because there's two different line setups. Anyway, so Old Smokey here. That's what I'm calling this bike. It's called Old Smokey for a reason. And let me show you why it's called Old Smokey. Because when I first got this bike, this is my bike here. It's one of mine that I'm selling to a neighbor, and if he doesn't want it, then I will sell it to, you know, somebody else, maybe one of you guys that are watching this right now. But the guy had left it on the side stand probably for, I don't even know, 6 months or a year. It was just on there forever. And when I started this thing up, I'll show you what real smoke is. You guys, you know, you guys get nervous about just like few little puffs of smoke. You'll see this in an upcoming video too on this bike, where I'm kind of compressing all of the work that I'm doing to it. Anyways, let me show you that real quick. Just got to get to it here. Ah, there it is. All right. It runs perfect. Wow. Just a normal day. Yeah, so that is smoke-tastic is what that thing is. When I said the hubs of hell, that one really is the hubs of hell when it was running like that. It cleared up after a few minutes, and they all do. But hey, what are we going to be what are we doing today, guys? We are going to be working right here on this bike just a little bit. I'm going to just go through some of the simple stuff. I've got an oil change to do on it, transmission lube, and final drive lube, and then we'll probably take a few more questions between those services, and then I'd probably call it from there. But anyway, I'll take one more here. It says, Richard Short, my tires are over 11 years old. I'm a low mileage rider and they still look good. Should I be changing them out, or will I be okay to continue to run on them? No signs of damage or perishing. Well, I don't know. That a 10-year-old tire is really getting pretty up there. You might be getting some dry rot going on. I know on my personal bike, there's not a chance I would be running a 10-year-old tire, even if it was brand new. In fact, I recently threw away 10-year-old tires that were, it still had the little rubber tits on it. You know, it was just as new as could be, and I threw them right away because I just can't take that chance. I mean, I take enough chances as it is, riding a motorcycle like I do, and yeah, you're kind of taking your life in your own hands. I guess, Richard, you better just make sure your life insurance is up to date, and don't put anybody on the back. That's what I got to say to that one. But anyways, let's get going on this thing right here. I'm gonna change the oil on it. It's a simple procedure, guys. Certainly, you know, follow along, watch along, whatever you want to do. And yeah. I've actually got two cameras rolling right now. One for you guys, and the other one for the other video that I'll be editing. Now that drain plug, you really don't need to remove that every time. If you don't want to, you can just drop this pan right here, or the cover, filter cover. That's how you want to do it. But for me, I'm going to drop that. A lot of times you can reuse this ring that's on here, as well as the O-ring. I am going to change this O-ring because I have no idea the vintage of that. This oil is very smelly. Whew. This thing was running terrible. Besides all that smoke that it was blowing out, it was really pretty poor running. Usual. Drop one right in the oil. Alright, well that's finished and draining out. I'm going to fill up the filter with oil. You guys hear me okay? I hope so. Enough of that. In case you wonder what oil I use, covered this in other videos, but it is 1 quart of VR1 for the added zinc, and then I use almost 3 more quarts of just regular 2050 oil. I don't really go for synthetics in these because it does have a tendency to slip past the rear main seal, or the O-ring that's in the rear main seal. So I prefer to just use regular conventional motor oil for this. I swear I never have enough tools out. Oh, this is on way too tight. Guys, make sure you use a torque wrench on these if you change your own oil. Just, oh jeez, it just kind of saves it after. It saves you the next time you change it. If you got any other questions, put them in the comments. Always reach up in here and double check to make sure that the O-ring, the old gasket from the oil filter, has indeed been removed. $11 Newton meters on the filter. Looks like the old O-ring fell in the pan. Go get a new one. So what are you guys riding? Put it in the comments or the chat box. Now I will say I love the LT. I really don't like the oil change on it. I think the RT has it going on when it comes to that. They're way easier to do. I think all the K bikes are just a mess. The K1600s, they definitely got their challenges. K75s, those are just like this. The K1200 GTs, ugh. It's got a little hose you gotta drain out. What a pain. But yeah, they're fun though. Let me get this out of here. Alright, 10 Newton meters on this. These. And the last one is just 30 Newton meters on that. Another video I've been threatening to do is a new favorite tools video. I've got so many new tools, thanks to you guys and helping me out, especially bringing me work, that I've been able to upgrade my tools greatly. Alright, get some oil back in this thing. I'll be taking your questions just as soon as I get some oil in this. I like to change out this this O-ring on here. You don't have to do that all the time if it's not leaking, but just one of the things I do for these bikes, because they usually, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the O-ring gets really flat and gets super tight on there too. Don't even ask me what size it is. It's one of those sizes. So a little oil advice for you guys out there to stave off the inevitable, like I was talking about before, with having a leaking O-ring in the rear main seal area. If you keep your oil level just below the ring. So somewhere between half and full. So basically 3/4 is ideal. If you keep it right there, it minimizes the amount of oil that sits against the rear main seal in the back, and it you know, when the bike is sitting. If the bike's running, that's not going to be an issue, but when it's just sitting there, that hot oil sitting against there, or even cold oil, it does tend to seep through. And if you keep it a little bit lower on your sight glass, you won't have that much of a problem. Ah, no! Spilling oil everywhere. Classic. Alright, just going to fill this thing up. And then clean up my mess. Then I'll answer your questions. So if you're in the US and you're using quartz, I like to put in basically either 3.75 or 3.85 quarts. Then I start the bike, you know, make sure everything's charged up, and shut it off, and then check the oil again. And that usually puts it right in that 3/4 spot. Oh, I got a leak. I got a leaking quart. It's made a big mess over there. Must have hit something. I got double the mess to clean up now. I don't know if you saw that super clean video I did, but it'd be a challenge for that stuff. They've been contacting me, wanting me to do a video on, or run a contest basically to give away some super clean. Which, hey, maybe I'll give it to one of you guys. It's only available for the US though. You know, pick one of your comments out and see if I can contact you. I'm not going to put too much effort into giving away, you know, about a free bottle of super clean or two. But, alright. That's pretty good. Now, I did fill up over the line right now. I don't think you can see that on the video, but I can. But when I start it up, I know from experience that it'll go down to where it needs to be. Yeah, one of those bottles definitely had a leak. Making a mess here. So another thing, little tip I guess on these LTs, if you don't do it already, and that is change the final drive lube every time you do an oil change. The book says to do it every 12,000 miles. I would advise you to change it every 6, or whatever your interval is. If you do it every 3, it doesn't matter. It just, you want to be able to catch it if you're gonna have a problem with the final drive. Some of you know these things are a little bit prone sometimes to issues, and if you want to stave off that issue, or at least so you don't get stuck somewhere, change out that oil or the lube in the final drive. Bear with me. Alright. That's pretty good. Let me take a look at some of your questions. I see your question there, Zatan, about a K1200 RS. And order a set of a bypass set. I do have a set for the RT, the early model RT. I think that would work. So just contact me through Kirk's Motorrad, and I will check to, see what I have there for you. Danny J, you'll be doing an oil change. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same, just hopefully without the giant oil spill there, the Valdez oil spill that I had. So you guys are rocking the 2000 KLT. I like that, Ray. It's the same as mine. I got the 2000. This is actually a 2000 as well. Same oil with oil head bikes. Same final drive. Yes. Yeah, the oil is the same. You can use whatever oil right off the shelf. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be motorcycle oil. If you have a wet clutch on your bike, then you need to use motorcycle oil or something that's rated to be like motorcycle oil. But on these bikes, no, you don't need to. All right, I gotta go get my other camera. So for the upcoming video. Oh, I see what you meant. Yeah, about changing the oil in the final drive. Yeah, I would do it too. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I want to talk about cheap insurance. That's about as cheap as it gets. These things only take, what is it, 180 milliliters or something, or no, 220. Very little oil in these things, so definitely worth doing. All right. I'm going to change out these. Got new ones. Sometimes these things don't like to come out. Didn't look too bad. That thing smashed to oblivion. I think that was even the wrong size on there. But I didn't see any chunks or sparkles. So that one's still good to go. This particular bike has about 50,000 miles on it. These are the greatest things ever for filling these up. They're hair applicators. You can find them on my Amazon page. They're really cheap. And they got good little graduations on there so you can accurately put in the right amount. There we go, 220. The oil I'm using today, as I use every day, 75-110 is what I put in them. Especially up here in Illinois where it is both incredibly hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's a really good all-purpose. Gives it a little bit of added protection for real hot climates, and I think it just works good. So that's what I use. But if you want to use 75-90 of whatever variety you want, that's up to you. No debate on oil stuff here. Oh, wrong plug. .23 Newton meters on the drives. If you got any other questions, or any of your new people that have joined us, would encourage you to go back and watch the beginning parts. There's a lot there. Anyway, about to move on to the transmission lube here. There's that. Yeah, that oil looked pretty good. Pretty good to dump right out. keep kicking that cable. I swear I'm gonna knock it right out. All right, got to do a camera reset again. Lighting is not bad with this thing. The thing I like about these lights that I've been using, they don't flicker in the camera, which is very nice. A lot of times you get with LEDs, you know, you get that LED flicker. These don't do that. Alright, I'm going to break that loose first, because you know, that could be trouble if that doesn't come loose. Gotta dump out my old oil first. Hopefully you guys can still see okay. As good as it's going to get. All right. Come on. Doing this transmission is always such a pain in the butt too. Got my custom tool here. See the magnet, it's got a little bit of material on it, nothing much. Doesn't look like it was changed all that long ago. The interval on this I do every other oil change, so approximately 12,000 miles. It's, you know, if you do every 4,000 mile oil changes, then go every 3. But these I go every 12. I think the book maybe calls for 24. I don't want to take it that far though. Especially if you're hard on them. I've been really hard on my transmission sometimes, especially when I'm out in the mountains riding. You know, you're always shifting, just up, down, shifting without the clutch. You know, you can wear stuff out, and you get a lot of metal particles in here. And what happens is, not that, you know, it's real hard, super hard on the transmission, but what can happen is the metal particles get to be so much that they affect the speed sensor on the side of the transmission, and then you can get your, on the older bikes especially, you can see the speedometer will start jumping up and down a little bit. Gets a little jumpy. So if you're just joining us, I am taking your questions right now. We're winding down on this video. This will be the last of the services that I do on this, and then I'm going to cut it off from there, but I will take a final stab at your questions. If you have any, I would encourage you to put them in the chat And again, if you are watching this post live stream, you can always leave a question or a comment down in the comments section below. The description area is where you're going to find links to my Amazon page, Patreon, that cool chart that I've made for the LT and the RS and all the, you know, it covers all the K1200 line. Doesn't cover the transverse engine models, but it does cover all of these models. So anyway, maybe while that's draining out, I'll take a quick peek. Zatan says thank you. Well, you're very welcome, Zatan. I'm glad they've been a big help to you, my videos. When I started making these videos, I really made them for guys like myself. So, you know, there weren't really any videos out there covering this model, and I thought, hey, why not start a YouTube channel and start making videos on it? And well, that's where I'm at today. Now I'm getting work from all around the US and Canada, and I haven't gotten any Mexican bikes yet. I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody from Mexico yet. I've met some great Mexicans, mind you, but they haven't been riding up here from Mexico just to bring me their bike. So, to my Mexican friends out there, bring me your bikes. This gets torqued to 55 Newton meters. Come on. So using this bottle again, I find that if you fill this all the way up twice, it is exactly enough. That way you don't have to sit there and just keep eyeballing this thing. One. Heard some kids outside. I wanted to make sure they weren't messing with my dog. All right. A lot of times you can reuse the little metal O-ring that's on here because it only gets tightened down to 30 Newton meters. This one looks like it's in great shape, so that's a reuse. Oh, wrong one. That's it. Going all over the place here. I'll just sit down. All right, well that looks good enough. So that is about gonna do it for this video. I do have two other upcoming videos. One that I have already made yet another jump starter. So that one's coming up. Those little jump packs. Yeah, I'm about done with those again because you know when you have a smaller YouTube channel, they some of these companies get a mind that, oh, hey, why don't you try a jump starter? So I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll do a jump starter pack. So I do one, and then they just keep coming in. It's just like I'm on some mailing list for, it's like a spam list almost. So I get offers all the time for jump start packs. But one of the cool things that I've got coming up is it's in this little box right here. This beautiful company here, Ansel, they sent me this scanner that is going to be a scanner. It's going to work on almost all brands of motorcycles, you know, for scanning the computer, as well as snowmobiles and ATVs, and I mean just about anything with one of those onboard diagnostic plugs. It's got an adapter, so that's going to be an upcoming video. I'm doing my research on it right now. I want to get fully familiar before I make a video, so it's not just one of those dumb unboxing videos and, you know, I show one bike. I did test it out on an LT and it does work really good, but I want to get videos of it on a bunch of different bikes out there. So I think most of the late model stuff it'll work on, as well as earlier model stuff. Not the real early stuff like the 99 RTs and that vintage stuff, that stuff that's only got like the 3-prong onboard diagnostic port. Those are so primitive, there's almost nothing there to see anyway. So, but I will be bringing that video, and that'll be an upcomer. What else? Kirk, you look tired, brother. Yeah, well, maybe I am a little tired. I don't know. I think it's my puffiness. I did have a full beard recently. Over the winter, I had a full beard, but I cut it off. So, guys, I think that is going to do it for today. I don't see any other questions coming in. And I appreciate all of you watching. I appreciate all you guys. If any of my patrons are on here, well, I sure do appreciate you guys. You guys are what keeps me going. So, thanks so much for watching, guys. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.